Hey, Sean, we're back again, man. 24 hours goes by faster than an afternoon at the Department of Motor Vehicles.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm ready to get back to it, get that 2-game losing streak out of my mind here. We are going to be
Get it off the board.
Madmen right now, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're a Moneyline losing madman, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I spent the day at the DMV today here to get my license fixed. That was a lot of fun. Not fixed, but my driver's license expired today, and last year with all that COVID stuff in Chicago where I live, just reopening fully. But it's not even reopened fully because at the Illinois Center where you go, if you live in the city like me, in the basement, they have a bunch of different restaurants, like a food court, and not one of them is open. Not even Dunkin' Donuts was open. So it's not completely open here. And then they had this long line. And, I have to say, I congratulate the people who work in and appreciate what they do at the DMV. They're not the ones setting the rules, making the long lines. But I really have a question that I don't understand sometimes. And maybe you can help me out with this, Sean.
Okay.
So you have to have two forms of ID, right? You have to have something that with your signature on it, something with your picture on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like a letter that proves where you live. I don't know if it's the same in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
So they have this long line, and then the person at the beginning of the line doesn't check if you have that stuff. The people at the end of the line. So you go through this snake line, you wait for an hour and 15 minutes, and then finally a person comes up to you and says, "Let me see your identification and all the paperwork that you've brought." Okay. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't have the right documents. And they went through this line for an hour to be told at the last second, you're about to go in the door. Oh, you don't have the right paperwork. Now, I don't understand why that person who checks is at the end of the line and the person who tells you where the line is at the front of the line. Shouldn't the person who checks be at the front of the line? So if you don't have it, you go home. You don't have to wait an hour to find out you don't have the right stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But, a lot of things in this world are backwards and upside down, and that definitely sounds like one of them.
Yeah, I just don't understand how that works. So it's just an odd experience. It happens every time I go, and even when it's not COVID related. So just if you're watching, put that person in the front of the line, and hopefully we can put our picks to the front of the line today. Yesterday we spoke, and you said, Rich, if you didn't play Montreal, they were gonna win, and so it's a good thing I did play Montreal because that plus line buffered my Cubs pick. Yeah, Cubs, they got crushed. I was right about that, though. I said it was hot. I said they'd hit a lot of home runs. Just picked the wrong team to hit them.
Yeah, and Montreal, every time, they'd go up one, I thought they were, okay, they're going to win this game, and Tampa Bay kept answering. And then when they got the power play at the end of the game and they started the overtime with, 3 minutes left on the power play, I thought for sure Tampa was going to win.
Guys wide open at the side of the net, just chunking shots, thankfully. Like me in golf.
I commend the fans. I am as diehard as they are, but the way Montreal went nuts yesterday, you're going to lose the next game anyway, or if you don't lose the next game, you're going to lose one of the next three. But
I think it's happened once in the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. A team came back. I know it's happened 4 times, I think, in the history of the league at different levels, but only
oddly, hockey's one of the more successful at coming back from 3-0 than any other sport.
Well, hockey's just crazy in the playoffs. Any team can win if you get in.
Yeah, basketball, it's never happened. I think baseball, it's happened once with the Red Sox Yankees. So hockey, it's happened a handful of times.
Yeah, I mean, hockey is probably the most common where the lowest seed beats. I mean, the Montreal is effectively the 16th seed. This would be like the team that beat, I don't know, what was the first team to lose as a number 1 seed in the NCAA, Virginia or something?
Oh, yeah, yep.
It'd be like that team that beat Virginia made it all the way to the final game. That's how. They're the team, and of course the disparity in NCAA basketball is much greater than it is in NHL hockey. But that's just an example. So I'm glad I made that bet. I wish I would have laid off the Cubs. I wish I would have laid off of Texas. I'm going to lay off of both of them today, but. Today, we have another championship series getting started. That's the NBA between the Phoenix Suns, the host Phoenix Suns, and the Milwaukee Bucks, who are probably going to be minus Giannis again.
Yeah, the question is, how long are they going to be without him in this series? Like tonight, I don't see him playing, but even when he does come back, it's going to take a game. So if
Till
it
the
takes,
end. I don't think he's coming back.
Yeah, that's what I think too. So then it actually does. I put $10 on it. FanDuel, I believe it's FanDuel, has an interesting. It's FanDuel or DraftKings has if Phoenix sweeps them, it's at like plus 89 or something like that. So I put $10 on, can win almost $100 if Phoenix sweeps Milwaukee. I don't think they're going to, but it was worth a $10 gamble, especially if Giannis does not play.
Yeah, I agree. I think Phoenix is probably the team to beat. I know at DraftKings they lifted them from plus the money line to plus 100. I think they're like minus 230 on the money line to win. Let's see here real quick. But at DraftKings you can bet them plus 100. So it's kind of like one of their odds boosts.
Yep.
Yeah, they're minus like around 240, minus 250, somewhere in that range, depending upon your book. But the last time I feel like these are almost sucker bets because the last time I did this, Milwaukee was the team against Atlanta getting that plus 100. I did it. And then immediately after I pressed enter, I'm like, you probably shouldn't have done that. And of course, I paid the price for it.
Yeah, I did it too. It's a max bet of $25, and I think Phoenix is going to win tonight. So I did it. But you never know. I mean, yesterday's baseball slate, I don't know if you even know this 100%, but if it wasn't for Cleveland blowing the lead after they were down 5-0, they came all the way back, every underdog would have won yesterday.
And a couple of days before that, every favorite won.
Yeah, every favorite won. So if you could get a handle on that, wow.
Well, it's all or nothing, right? If you, even depending on the day. So if you're on the right side.
I should have thought of that. Underdog day in baseball seems to be Sunday. Well, usually. Monday yesterday was kind of like a Sunday. It was, that holiday most people had off, so it kind of felt like a Sunday, and all the underdogs loved it.
Well, what do you think about the underdogs' chance in the NBA tonight? Milwaukee, are you going to play that game or?
What I like in this game, and it's going to be an official play, is I like the under. Phoenix hasn't played since Wednesday. Milwaukee hasn't played since Thursday. You usually get the nerves, game one of the finals, get the nerves. You'll get a slow start. So then under 219.5 is my play.
Uh-oh.
You got
I'm
it
under
too?
219.5 too, my friend. The Suns, I think, have the third best defense at home in terms of points per game. So they have a really solid defense. Milwaukee obviously is not the same offensive efficiency without Giannis in the lineup, although both teams are two of the more efficient offenses in the NBA. They were during the regular season. They're both top 10 teams in terms of defensive efficiency as well. But I do expect them to, I don't know, both teams are first time in the finals. I don't know if they'll be nervous or excited or what, but I do expect the game to be played at a slow pace because Phoenix is, I think, the fourth slowest pace team in the NBA. So I'm on the under as well, but I went back and looked at their history. These two teams tend to play over a lot. So I'm a little bit worried about this bet, but I do expect to come out to play a little bit tight. I think it'll be more defensive oriented. And I do think the pace of play will be slow. And I think if Phoenix gets up, then they'll really slow that pace down with Chris Paul. He'll make sure they use every second of that clock, and and they'll really drain that clock towards the end of the game, towards the end of the halves, and toward the end of quarters. My biggest worry about the under in the NBA, especially in the playoffs, it's not as big a deal in the regular season, but if a team is down by 7 or 8 in the regular season, they may or may not foul at the end. Here, they'll foul, and they'll keep fouling, and they'll keep fouling, and it's almost like empty net in hockey. They'll just let you rack up points, hoping eventually they'll nail a couple threes and you miss a free throw so they can get back in the game. So that's my biggest worry.
Yeah, but there is a chance, too. If Phoenix wins this by double digits, that's good for the under as well, because then you don't fall into those situations to where they're fouling constantly.
Well, let's hope they're up by double digits.
I watch a lot of games where I have the other team where they give up. They're down 5 points and there's 10 seconds left, and they just leave them dribble it out. That happens more in the regular season than it does here. Mm-hmm. But there are times where they just give up, and I'm like, I don't understand. It depends on which side of the bet you're on, if you're happy or not about that. But it's very frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, I'm happy when I'm on the over. Go rack up them points. I know I'm 20 points behind right now, so foul. But yeah, it's more prevalent, I think, in the playoffs, especially in the championship games, where you're going to see those fouls at the end. They stop the clock, they rack up points, and that's the part that concerns me. But I do think both teams will be a little tight early on, and I expect a slow pace of play and some tight defense from Phoenix. And that's Milwaukee's path to winning, too. They can't just let Phoenix run all over them. So I think it'll be a defensive-oriented game in game one.
Yes, and with the layoff, too, that's definitely going to help, too. They shouldn't come out too crisp.
Well, we'll find out. I hope not. The MLB, we got to improve our lot here a little bit. First game on the board is the Atlanta Braves versus the Pittsburgh Pirates. You like anything in this spot?
No, Braves are my baseball team, and then after yesterday putting a bet on them, I don't trust them at all right now.
They're your team, huh? Well, obviously, the feeling's not mutual.
Yeah, no.
At least not yesterday, anyway.
They do have the advantage in the pitching matchup. They get Ian Anderson versus Chad Cole. But Pittsburgh's won 2 in a row now. They just wiped Atlanta out yesterday, so I don't trust either team.
They smoked them. Well, right now it looks like the Pirates are plus 162. About 80 out of every 100 tickets are on the Pirates. About 85 cents on every dollar bet is on the Braves. So Atlanta's getting the bets and the money. I think Atlanta should bounce back, but I don't trust them at minus 182 after their showing yesterday. They just got smoked. Yeah,
they were up 1-0, and they had a chance to add to the lead. And when they didn't add to the lead, then Pittsburgh bats exploded. And
the Braves, I think, had the bases loaded at the top of the first, and they only scored 1 run.
Yeah.
I hate when that happens, and your team has a chance to just blow a game open and a strikeout and a pop up, to the first baseman or the catcher. It's just like, come on, dude.
Yeah. You're thinking you're in good shape, even giving up the 1.5, and then they don't do that, and then they just totally collapse pitching wise too.
Blue Jays and the Orioles. What do you think?
So the Orioles have Spencer Watkins making his first career start here. He's a 30th round draft pick in 2014. He's 28 years old. Actually, he almost retired in the offseason.
Sounds like a movie with Kevin Costner almost.
Yeah, so it's a good story. I don't trust either team here. If I had to, you could throw Toronto on another ticket, but I would stay away.
Yeah, Toronto is one of the higher scoring teams in baseball. The Orioles have one of the largest deficits in terms of run differential. I mean, Blue Jays rack up runs in this game. The question is, can the Orioles keep up? I don't know. It depends on how the pitcher does. Milwaukee and the New York Mets. Jacob deGrom is a minus 250. Now, last time deGrom pitched, I was on the other side of that bet, and I was right. The Mets didn't come through that day.
Yeah, and actually his last 2 starts, he's given up a couple runs, which isn't alarming as a normal starting pitcher, but when your ERA is under 1, I mean, his ERA went from like 0.48 to 0.96, so it's doubled the last 2 starts. You always got to pay a big-time premium when he's on the mound, too, so this is one.
Always.
Yeah, this is one I would stay away. I wouldn't trust the Mets winning by 2 or more runs, and even that, I think you're still in the negative, so...
They have one of the better. I think they have the best home pitching staff, but they are only 9-14 against lefties. So I expect another low-scoring game like yesterday.
I did find it. I looked at Jacob deGrom's strikeout total. They have it at over under 10.5. I thought that was kind of high.
That feels high to me too.
Yeah, he did have 14 strikeouts. I believe it was the last start, and some. In the beginning of the year, like 3 out of his first 4 starts were that high, but in between there, they weren't. So maybe if you feel a little adventurous, you could go under. I wouldn't go over that.
Yeah, I wouldn't go over that either. That's a lot of strikeouts. And plus, deGrom has been known to every now and then, if he gets a little twinge in his elbow, walk off the mound and call it a night.
Yeah, so the under would be
the way you would go on that.
Play if you want to do it, yeah.
The Dodgers and the Marlins. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, did I want to take the Marlins in this spot. But will the Dodgers lose 2 in a row on the road to the Miami Fish?
No, I don't think so. And actually, I'm staying away, I'm not making that fit, but I would lean towards the Dodgers here. You're actually getting them at a pretty good price.
Minus 134. Yeah, I agree with you, but Goslin, I think he's a good pitcher, but I don't think he is he's not their Walker Buehler. He's not their Trevor Bauer. He's not Clayton Kershaw. He's probably not even Julio Urias. He's kind of like somebody's out, so we're putting him in pitcher. I think he's really better suited for a relief role. And I just think that the Marlins, I feel like if you look at it, yeah, the Dodgers have the power line advantage, but actually in this setup, Miami owns the home away run differential, barely, very small, but they do against the Dodgers, and they win more than half of their games at home, and you're getting a plus 120 line with the Marlins. I was really, really, really close to taking the Marlins today. I might still, if that line creeps up a little bit more, but it's started at 120, stayed at 120. If I can get like 125 at first pitch, I might take the Marlins.
Yeah, the Dodgers won 9 out of 10. Even yesterday, they were down quite a bit. They were down a couple times, and they kept coming back. They did ultimately end up losing. They get to face a right-handed pitcher. Now, Pablo Lopez has had a good year so far, but the Dodgers seem to struggle against left-hander, which they had yesterday. So now they get to face a right-hander again. Mm-hmm. I think we'll see the Dodgers again.
Next game, Cubs and Phillies. It's hot in Chicago again. We're expecting weather again. We're expecting weather tonight, so we're like some storms coming through. So it's a bit windier out today than it was yesterday. There's going to be a lot of home runs again. Question is, will any of the Cubs hit any of them? I'm not on either side of this game at all. I couldn't find it, but I was looking for like a home run total for the game somewhere because I think if that number is like under 4, 3.5, I would definitely take the over on that. I don't know where you find something like that. And we were talking about players hitting home runs. There are going to be home runs hit in Wrigley Field tonight. Question is who? Arrieta's pitching for the Cubs, and if you remember the last time Arrieta pitched, Cubs spotted him to a 7-0 lead in the first inning, and by the 4th inning they were down by 8. So I think it's the first time in Major League Baseball history where both teams led by 7 runs in the first 4 innings.
Yeah, what's interesting about that game is I saw they were up 7-0, and I kept looking for a line for the Brewers. And by the time I would get to the line, it started evening out because every time I went to place the bet, it would stop because Milwaukee got another hit and stuff like that. And
approve odds change.
Yep, and it never worked. They never got it in. So I was kind of mad when they came back and won because when it was 7-0, it could have made pretty good money there.
Let's see. If I'm looking at this for the Cubs, who's going to hit a home run in this game tonight against the Cubs? I mean, I think you got a right-hander, maybe a Bryce Harper. You think Bryce Harper's good for a home run? Rice Hopkins had 2, I think, yesterday, so maybe he's swinging a hot bat right now.
The only thing about these home runs, so I'm on DraftKings right now, it's plus 290 for Bryce Harper to hit a home run. Mm-hmm. So you're only making $29 for a $10 bet. I've looked at these home run ones before, and it's like not high enough odds for me to ever really go out on a limb.
Gregorius is plus 460.
Yeah. You have to find somebody like that,
Yeah.
Even though Bryce Harper's more likely to do it, I just 3-1 like that. I don't feel like it's high enough.
Chris Bryant's plus 450, but they're facing Aaron Nola. I mean, I would definitely focus on Phillies hitting home runs off of Arrieta. He's not pitched well. He just left Philadelphia. I know he's going to be motivated, yada. But they're also going to be motivated to hit him.
Yeah, so this is one of my official plays, too. I'm going to take the plus line. I'm going to take Phillies giving up a 1.5 at plus 115. The Cubs lost 10 in a row. They feel like they're never going to win again. They've been outscored 68-25. In 7 of those 10 games, they scored 2 runs or less. So the Phillies offense is starting to get better, too. So I think we can cover that. The
public is with you. It looks like the public's really more on the Cubs getting a 1.5 than they are the Phillies giving a 1.5. So you're betting against the house, so to speak, or you're betting against the public. So that it tends to be the right play the right way. So you're in the right spot.
Yeah, Aaron Nola has been struggling too, but it also, looking at his trends, it seems like every other game he has a decent game, or he has a really good game. So he's on the good side on this one because his last start was not good.
Detroit and Texas. I was on this game yesterday. I don't want nothing to do with it today, although the dynamics are still the same. But it just seems like Detroit is playing better baseball than the Rangers are right now.
Yeah, so I actually find it interesting at Detroit plus 155. It's not an official play, but my problem and the reason I wouldn't play it is Jose Arena, the starter for Detroit, has just been giving up runs right and left. But I'll go back to the stat I gave you after you made the pick. Texas was 4-7. Yes, now they're obviously 4-8 as the favorite. So they are a good team to bet against and get that plus line.
Yeah, they don't know how to handle success at all. Not that 8 games in a 60 game, or they're 80 games in and they've only won 90% of the time are the underdog, and a few times they are the actual favorite. They don't know what to do with it. So yeah, you're right. Stay away from them.
Yeah.
White Sox and Minnesota. Yesterday I said that just being around Chicago, it feels to me like Minnesota always has the upper hand on the White Sox, and they had the upper hand yesterday. Today, it looks like the White Sox are the favorite again, with Minnesota getting a plus line at home again. Do you go ahead and take the Minnesota Twins in a plus line again?
No, I don't trust Minnesota. We said yesterday about the lines. You just don't get enough value with them, and they tend to let down. So, and the pitching matchup seems to be pretty even, both solid starters. I'm passing on this.
The one thing, though, is that Rodon is a lefty, and Minnesota has not fared well against lefties. They're 10-19, so they're 2 times more likely to lose this game than they are to win this game. And the White Sox are only right now, what are they, about minus? Let's see, White Sox right now are minus 122, so minus 103. That's an 8.5 inning line, but they're going to play a home team, so I don't know how that works. Oh, that's 8.5 runs. I'm sorry. But yeah, so I would be inclined to take the Sox here because of Minnesota. So I think the value is with the White Sox. The pitching in terms of batting against lefties favors the White Sox. So I'm on the White Sox, but I'm not betting them. The next game is Oakland and Houston. Chris Bassett versus Mr. Framber Valdez. Now, the Oakland has been successful against lefties.
Yeah, again, I don't really trust either one here, especially Houston's minus 157. That's too high or too low, whichever way you want to say it. If anything, maybe the under, but then the problem is Houston's offense can just explode at any point. So I elected to stay away completely.
Not me. This is my plus line for the day. You can get plus 115, plus 120 to run line Houston minus 1.5. Valdez against the Oakland A's has pitched, I think, 3 times, and he's got a 2.25 ERA. Chris Bassett, I know he's a good young pitcher. He's pitched in Minute Maid Park 3 times, 14 innings pitched, 16 hits, 11 runs, 5 home runs, and an ERA over 7. Now, for whatever reason, when these 2 teams play, the games are decided by a ton of runs. They're not close. But Houston has dominated this series in the last 10, winning 7 out of 10, and the average margin of victory is more than 5 runs. So today they're going 0-0 into the extra innings, and they'll sack the guy over from second, that runner, and bring him home on a sac fly and win 1-0. But I'm taking Houston. They've dominated the series. They've knocked the living daylights out of the Astros pitching. Out of the A's pitching. And Chris Bassett has struggled in Houston. So I'm expecting more of the same today.
Sounds good. Hey, all those facts, it sounds good to me. I'm not questioning this one. I don't have anything against that, so that sounds good.
Well, they always sound good, right? But then they actually have to play. We go back and we find, what that's called? What is that? It's like that bias people have when they watch the news that fits like their worldview, right? So when you have when you go through your numbers, and for me, I go through the Excel sheets and I'm looking at the run line. I'm looking for very specific patterns, but when I find them in the numbers, then you go look at the data, and you're looking for a confirmation bias. So you're looking for information that confirms what you already believe. And if you don't find it, you'll keep looking for it until you do. So it all sounds good until the first pitch comes and it's out of the ballpark.
Well, I'm just saying I don't have any stats like Texas is 4-7 as a favorite on that one. When you said Texas yesterday and I saw the 4-7 as a favorite, you just know how some teams are when they can't handle certain situations. So
yeah, you were just ready to put me down. All right, Cincinnati, Kansas City.
So this is going to be an official play from me. I am taking Cincinnati money line. It is at minus 159, so it's right there on the border. Mm-hmm. Normally, I would do a $30 bet to cover and get what I want out of this. I'm going to risk $10 more and do $40. Cincinnati's rolling right now. And then Luis Castillo.
Big spender.
Luis Castillo. His ERA is like over 5, but if you look, his last 7 games started, his ERA is 2.30.
Hmm.
And then Chris Bupik for Kansas City, his last 7 games started, his ERA is 9.53. So you got pitchers heading in the different directions. You have teams heading in 2 different directions. I like Cincinnati. I really could have done the run line, but you're still getting negative, and we all know how that works out. Cincinnati wins by 1 run, and I was right but wrong at the same time. So
that sucks.
Yeah, so since the money line is low enough, minus 159 is not too bad for all that.
No, I think minus 167 is where I start looking at the run lines. Even though Houston's mine is less than 167, just when I looked at their history together, Houston just smashes that pitching. And the good thing for you too is the Reds are actually 10-6 against lefties, so you should get the benefit of the matchup there too. In terms of the money, most of the money, is like 8 out of 10 tickets are on Cincinnati. 80 cents out of every dollar is on Cincinnati. So you're betting with the public on this one, not on the other side.
Yeah, it just seems like Cincinnati's getting everything together too, and they're starting to put everything together and make their run.
Boston and the Los Angeles Angels. Ohtani leading the league. I mean, is he the 2021 version of Babe Ruth? I mean, pitcher and leading the league in homers.
Yeah, he's incredible now. I will say his last start, he didn't even make it out of the first inning.
He's thinking about home runs. He's thinking about hitting. He's not thinking about pitching anymore.
Yeah, maybe that works out here. He's fresh, and he's due for another good game and come right back. If I had to go one way, I would go the Angels here.
Yeah, see, I almost want to bet Boston, but I'm not making it official play.
Yeah, neither am I.
They dominate the run line. They dominate the power rankings. They win 65% of their games on the road, although the Angels are winning at home at about 55%. You're just getting just the way that I feel that Vegas designs their bets. I feel like they're egging you on to take the Angels, and they're saying they're making you overpay for Boston, which tells me that their algorithms believe Boston is the winner in this game. So we go from the best team on the road to a battle of bad. You have Colorado and Arizona, and I feel like I almost feel like if I bet this game, I need to check myself into a help center.
Yeah, there's definitely better games out there to bet on. And it's not the only night game neither, so it's not one of those you got to be desperate and be like, oh, I got to play this because it's the only game on. So I would just leave it go. Arizona's bad. Colorado's horrible on the road.
Especially on the road, man. But
Yeah,
you talk about a Jekyll and Hyde team. My Lord.
Colorado, you want to bet at home and stay away from on the road. Now, kind of
bet against them, but you can usually bet against them safely. But can you bet safely against them with Arizona on the other side?
Yeah, and I don't know. And you're not getting rewarded for taking Arizona, and you're not really getting rewarded. I mean, you get a plus line for Colorado, but not enough.
No, not for a team that's won like 16% of their games on the road.
This might be one of those. This might be the top game to absolutely stay away from. Like if it was the last game, the only game tonight, I don't even know if I could bet it.
Yes, if I bet it, I'd be saying my name is Rich and I have a gambling problem. St. Louis versus San Francisco. This is a game I was thinking about possibly run lining as well, but I stayed away.
Yeah, I don't trust either team. It's hard to bet on St. Louis for me, and San Fran's starting to come back to reality and struggle a little bit.
Yeah, they are for sure.
San Diego and the Dodgers are putting it all together, and San Fran's coming back to reality. So, another couple weeks, San Fran might be in third place. And
it's like that front running horse with fake speed.
Yeah, coming back to the pack big time.
Yes, like Michael Jackson in the American Music Awards or wherever when he first broke out that moonwalk. He went back so fast. All right, Washington and San Diego, still no line because the Washington doesn't want to put a pitcher out there. So maybe they're going to hire the Cubs' Eric Sogard, who's pitched 3 times in the last 10 games. Maybe a trade Washington can make so that they can have that spot pitcher. Finally, New York Yankees at the Seattle Mariners. This was a game where I was, if there was a home team tonight with a plus line that I would circle, this would be the one that I would circle because the Mariners own in a big way the power ranking advantage between the home team, the home Mariners versus the away Yankees. They own the run differential home away again in a big way versus the Yankees. They win at about 60% at home, so Seattle's a much better home team than they are road team. The Yankees are 500 on the road, but they just seem to be that team, that perennial disappointment. But because they're the Yankees, they're always overbet.
Yeah, I was actually looking at it the other way. I'm staying away, but I was actually looking at the Yankees just because Seattle's starting pitcher, Jesus Sheffield, he's
stinks.
Yeah, he's not good. Actually, I think you've lost a bet on him before where he just completely folded. Yeah, so I don't trust either team. But if I had to bet, if I got intrigued later and I was going to bet, I would go the Yankees.
Yeah, I just think you're getting more value with Seattle, a lot more value with Seattle.
And I think if it was any other starting pitcher, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't trust Sheffield at all.
Yeah, I don't trust the Yankees at all either at this point in time. I think someone errantly said something about the Yankees I heard a couple days ago. I don't know if they meant to say it, but for sure it was said, and I agree with that person. The Yankees do stink.
Yeah. Glad you caught yourself there.
Yes, indeed. Well, this time I know the mic is on.
Yeah, well, let's hope the mic's on. I hear you.
Yeah, you hear me. All right. But hopefully what's coming out makes sense and actually works out tonight. So if folks want to follow us, Sean, where are they going to be able to keep track of Moneyline Madmen?
Facebook and Twitter, and then also you can watch us live every day on YouTube as well, and subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button down there. Also hit the bell. I don't know how all that stuff works, but make sure you do it so when we get started, you get notified. We're due to heat up, much like the temperature outside. Want to thank Horse Racing Radar, our sponsor. Make sure if you like horse racing, you head on over there. There's a lot of great stories, a lot of great free stuff on that site. And we'll be working on some Belmont picks. I don't know who our guest is, but Sean and I also work on a podcast for Horse Racing Radar with great guests, trainers, jockeys, track announcers, just people in the sport, all of whom are wonderful. So if you like horse racing, head on over to Horse Racing Radar and get your fill of solid information on there. Until next time, till we get together in 23 and a half hours, Sean said I should settle on. Good luck at the window.